myself all set up to put this cabinet together, but I thought I would share with you how I go about assembling the cabinet. So first let me show you, I like to combine the Festool domino with the pocket screws. So once you have all your pieces cut and ready to go, watch how fast this all goes together. Perfection. So you can see, just with the domino holding in place, I'm already square. So now all I have to do is take some screws and screw this thing together. Now I want to install my middle rail. Now I've already determined where that rail needs to be, so I made up some spacer blocks to help me get it exactly where I want it. Square it up and drive some screws down. Now I can install the legs. When you go to flip this up, be careful because these are plastic legs and you can break them. Now all I have to do is add my doors. And align them. Now, what I'm looking for is a nice gap in between both the doors. And I made up some 3mm shims to help me with that. I want to keep 3mm in between the two doors so they can open and close without hitting one another. Well, here's my drawer box. Treated myself to some nice domino drawers. For the drawer glide I'm using, I have my notch in the back, my hole for the tab. I already have my clips installed. This is pretty straightforward. That's what you want to hear. And that's what you want it to do. So, I guess it's time to get to the point that I'm making this video for, is to show you how to install that drawer front so I get a nice even reveal all the way between my doors. So let me show you the super top secret. Now before I go any further, I want to point out a couple things. This cabinet is for my shop, so I know what kind of countertop I'm putting on. I'm going to be putting on a plywood top. So it's going to be flat. So typically you would have at least a 50mm wide rail on the top. And you could use one in the middle as well. But I chose to use the plywood thickness, which is 18mm for my top rail, because, well, I know what kind of countertop I'm going to install. Plus, this is pre-finished plywood. And I don't have walnut edge banding wide enough to where if I did make a 50mm rail, I don't have any edge banding to cover that up. So keep that in mind, that this is probably not the way that you want to go about if you're using these videos for your kitchen cabinets, because a lot of times the countertop could have a lip on it. So if your top rail is too thin, that's going to bring your drawer front up and you won't be able to open your drawer. The other thing with my cabinets is I prefer to have my middle rail support my door. I could have easily placed this rail up a little bit more so that the drawer front and the doors would split and share that middle rail, but I don't need my drawer front to be supported on the bottom because I'm using the sides and the top to support my drawer front. So now that I have my drawers lined up exactly where I want to add my 3mm spacers and then my drawer front, you can see now that I'll have a 3mm gap along the top. So when I do put on my countertop, I'll be able to open up my drawer without the drawer hitting my countertop. Okay, how am I going to install this drawer front? I want to keep that perfect 3mm spacing. What can I do? Are you ready for the top secret? Drum roll, please. Get no drum roll? Oh, it's pathetic. Anyways, here it is. It's the Bloom drawer front adjuster. It's a little cam. And what you do is you're going to drill a 20mm diameter hole into the back of your drawer front. You're going to place this little pin into that hole. Then you would place your drawer front, and with this pin, it's got a nice little sharp point to it, in the back, in the hole, you can easily then take and press the drawer up against the drawer front. So then when you remove the drawer front, this pin will leave a nice hole to tell you where to drill the hole out. And then you would simply take these cams, insert them back into the drawer front in the back, and they accept a 832 machine screw. And with that machine screw in there, there's a little piece of metal in there that you could adjust left and right and top to bottom. So this really is a big help with achieving that perfect reveal with your European style cabinets. So just like Norm Abram, I made a little jig. Now for me, I like to come in from the side of my drawer front about 110 millimeters. And it doesn't have to be exact where these go, because once you install these, you're never going to see them. So when I come in about 110 millimeters, that puts me in somewhere around here for the adjustable cam. That way I can get in there with the screwdriver and tighten it up, and it gives me plenty of room to work inside the drawer itself. So let me drill these holes out. Can't believe I didn't get a drum roll. Here's my drawer. This is the back of my drawer. And here's the little jig that I made. This is a 1-inch through hole, obviously. And I gave myself a little line to give me a center. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. But all I do is I'll come in here and I'll lock that down. And since I have my guide bushing with the 1-inch OD, I have a 20mm boring bit installed. So now that will just drop into my hole with the guide bushing. And I want to set my depth of plunge. So plunge it down so that that bit hits my actual work surface. Lock it in place. And I'm going to use the cam to set my depth of plunge. So I'll place the cam in between the lowest turret and just drop the stop rod down, lock it in place. It's that simple. I have my depth of plunge set up. see that these little pins are going to drop in place, and the point, well, it's going to press up against the front of my drawer and give me a location to drill out the next hole. Put my 3mm spacers. I have my pins in. Make sure that I'm flush on both sides. Take my drawer, press it up against my drawer front. Now as you can see, maybe, I got just a perfect little indent, and that's where I want to drill a hole at. And I'll just come in with a backer block. Now I can remove these dowels and insert the adjustable cams. Now that my adjustable cams are in, I can open up the drawer and take my 832 screw and locate the cam and line it all up. I'm not going to tighten it just yet. Or maybe I could have. Now you can see I have pretty good spacing, and I'm hanging over just a little bit over here at the side, so I'm able to push it over now and get it nice and flush right there. I'm nice and flush on both sides. So now I'll tighten it up. Double check. That's good enough for who it's for. Now, I'm not going to use just those 2 screws in the cam. I'm going to then attach 2 more screws on either side to secure the drawer front to the drawer box itself. And it's that simple. Pretty easy, huh? Everything's nice and flush. Just have to put some handles on. This bad boy's done. Well, I got my handles, and oh, what is this? Well, I took a t-loc off one of the Festool sustainers, used it as a template to make my own little handles. Well, I know this video goes with the series of the LR32 system, and the LR32 system was not used in this video, but I wanted to do this video to kind of show you how it all goes together when you can utilize the accuracy of the Festool LR32 system. You noticed that when I was putting my cabinet together, my drawer glides were installed and my hinge plates were installed, so were my hinges. And everything just fit together perfectly. It was a lot of fun making these videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I passed a little bit of information on to you that you could use when you're building your cabinets. Thanks for watching.